I wanted to provide a different perspective of what's happening with the Bricks and Minifig scandal that has been occurring over the last week. I know that we've all been watching the videos and we think it is all doom and gloom. However, let me look at this from a the franchisor perspective. So I've been in the franchising industry for well over a decade. I love what I do. I think it's a great industry. I think it's the salt of the earth. I think it's one of the easiest ways to for people to achieve their American dream. That being said, not all franchisors are built the same. And when you are a franchisor and you want to franchise your business, particularly in every single state, you have to file a document called the franchise disclosure document. And you have to disclose this to every single candidate that comes into your sales funnel that is interested in opening franchise, whether it's Bricks and Minifigs or Taco Bell, anything like that. And you'd be surprised at how many businesses out there are actually franchised and not just like a corporate owned location. And as you all know, all the Bricks and Minifigs, except for a handful of, less than 10 are either owned by corporate or owned by executives within the organization. But the reason why I am speaking about this today is, over the past week, I've been hearing over and over again about um, all these lawsuits that have been uh, filed against Bricks and Minifigs. And I want to question that because if there is any type of lawsuit or any type of litigation, any type of bankruptcy or any type of store terminations that have been on record, by federal law, they have to be filed on the FDD, the franchise disclosure document, and they would be filed under the section item 3, which is litigation. Any litigation that has occurred in the past has to be documented on the franchise disclosure document. And so it's for anybody who's looking to open a franchise, that they have transparency in what's happening in the business, because the franchise disclosure document is designed to be a guide for transparency and how the business is um, functioning. And it is not a document to have all different types of marketing lingo or how well you can perform, but it gives you an overall clear view of what the business is actually doing. And when you go look at the franchise disclosure document for Bricks and Minifigs, if you go look at item 3 and item 4 and item 20, you will see that those uh, quote unquote lawsuits have not been filed. Now, the only thing I could think of is that it was filed this year in 2026 and not in any of the previous years, because the current FDD um, has to be renewed every single year, and it is for the previous year's information. So I didn't see any of these lawsuits in there. So either they're either very fresh or they're non-existent, because initially this whole issue with what happened up in Oregon has been years in the making, and it just recently came out to light. And do I think it is bad? Yes, I think it is horrible. And do I feel like the customer needs to get compensated or at least get his Legos back? Sure. But at the end of the day, we don't know the entire story. All we're hearing is what YouTubers, what influencers are speaking about. And let's be honest, um, rage bait sells. Now, I'm not saying everything is rage bait, but what I'm saying is I am pretty confident that the attorneys for Bricks and Minifigs have advised them to not speak upon these things, especially we're not seeing both sides of the story. And what I'm saying, or what I'm trying to say is, um, yes, this looks extremely bad on Bricks and Minifigs. However, again, we're only seeing one side of the story, and by no means am I defending Bricks and Minifigs. But what am saying is that some of the information that I am hearing out there just does not add up. Now, if they are purposely misleading their um, uh, franchisees in this industry by filing a false franchise disclosure document or franchise agreement, um, that is very, very bad. Are franchise owners who have put their life, their blood, their sweat, and their tears in opening this business, thinking that this would be a way to create a future for their family, and create a legacy, and maybe bring their children up in it. But um, there are things that we can do if you feel like you do need to boycott. There are corporate locations that we could choose not to visit at, and yeah, I don't know where those are, but if you have access to the FTD, you can easily find it. But that being said, if you have watched to the end of this, feel free to ask me anything around the FTD, and I'll do what I can to answer it. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye.